Miss A got a lot to say on all the things we go through within the day. Politics, dating, recipes, traveling, and yep, of course, I'm the karaoke queen. I take no L's, I'm always booking flights. This is my lovely lunatic Leo life. Kaboom! Guess who stepped in the room? This is my lovely lunatic Leo life. Kaboom! Guess who stepped in the room? The one and only S.A. Welcome everybody to another fabulous episode of my lovely Lunatic Leo Life podcast. And I know I always gush about my people that come on the show, but this person really to me is a celebrity, okay? And she's a friend in my head, y'all. This is one of my favorite YouTube readers, MissMachiste.
Hey everyone, it's amazing to be here.
Oh, thank you.
This is actually my first time meeting somebody in person.
Really?
Yeah.
I was like, I hope she doesn't think like I'm a weirdo, like just reaching out to her.
No.
Can you come on my podcast? And she seems so cool. So even when I started to follow you on YouTube, I believe was in March of this year.
That's when I first started the channel.
Are you serious?
So you're probably a day one.
Are you serious? Wow, I thought you've been doing this.
I've been doing it, but Leo's gravitated and they wanted their own channel. And it was one of the people who was a client of mine who was a Leo who mentioned it to me. They were like, you help me every day.
Wow.
That's a good sign.
Wow. So see, I started following her right when she started the Leo channel, but you had your regular channel.
Yeah, I have MissMachiste's tarot regularly.
Okay.
For all 12 signs.
All 12 signs. So make sure y'all follow her on YouTube. We got so much to talk about today. She's going to help guide me since I'm new to the spirituality and I'm interested. For a snippet of my tarot reading, stay all the way to the end. In learning on how you started, what you did. So at first it was only a voice. It was only a voice that I was hearing. She would have their camera set up so we only saw her shuffling the cards. So one day when you finally posted I was like, oh, she's so cute.
I know. That was something that was just random. And I was like, you know what? I want to put myself on camera because half the time when I am behind the scenes, my hands are moving all over the place. And I'm like, if you could only see me behind the screen. So it gave more of like the one-on-one to people.
Yeah.
And it feels like better of people seeing you.
Yeah.
But, people judge you by your looks. So that was a big thing of made me careful on it. But I was like, you know what? I gotta be who I am. That's the key.
And it's funny because I've always been the type, I used to care what people said back in the day when I was younger, but now I don't care. However, I don't have as many followers as you do. Like, I'm not up there yet. So I can understand that you hear a lot of craziness and bad talk and negativity.
Absolutely. Well, they'll pinpoint like everything you say. Like, I'm not somebody who talks grammatically correct all the time. And I'll get like the correctors and I'm like, you're not going to want to watch me. Because I'm never going to remember to say it the right way.
Right.
But that's just the way I talk and the way I think. And it's like the personality of just being yourself, really.
Have you ever had people that made you feel so negative that you wanted to stop?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been bad like that.
There's sometimes people who come online, and I actually had an experience on YouTube where they watched a video of mine and they basically said that I watched their video and copied everything.
Oh, so it was another reader who said?
So some random person that somebody sent to me and I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't even watch that many tarot readers. And so, but that's when you have to know who you are.
Yeah.
And know your truth.
Right.
So it gave a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, wait, did I really watch this person's video? And I'm like, no, I didn't. I know I didn't.
Right.
So knowing yourself and knowing your truth is what helped me keep going and keep continuing on because the cards are coming, you see them.
Yeah.
And
it's no tricks involved, guys.
Yeah, and that's what I said a lot of times too when certain cards come out. I tell my people, I'm like, I know y'all know tarot, so I'm not going to lie to you. This ain't a great combination. But how are you going to be honest in your work if you're not telling people the sometimes negative? That's not life.
Right. It's not always the glitz and glamour. It's always going to be some, well, not always, but it can be some stuff in between.
Exactly.
How did you know that you were gifted?
Well, all of my life when I was growing up, I had just a lot of weird instances that happened to me. And I am a Pisces sun with a Leo moon and Aries rising. And I never knew why I was so hyper active, or why I love performing in front of the mirror like a true Leo would. So that's when I really got into it. Once I got my astrology chart and I saw that your big 3 meant a lot more, and I was like, that totally explains it. Because when I was reading things about Pisces, it just never truly resonated. The intuition, yes, but everything of my personality didn't.
Okay.
And then once I realized I had a Leo moon, and if I'm a Pisces who's ruled by my emotions, I should be ruled by my emotional ruler.
Right.
So it made a lot of sense, and I was like, there's something up here. There is something up here, but just a lot of weird experience, a lot of weird dreams. I had premonition dreams that would end up happening to me. And I'm like, okay, there's something up. There's gotta be.
Were you scared at first? Were you young, very young when you realized this?
Yes and no. I kind of just thought that life was just really weird at first. I was just like, is this happening to anybody else? And I used to get night terrors when I was, I think when I was growing up, like when they say you're adolescent and you're a lot more connected to the other side because you don't have the conditioning of society yet.
Right.
So I would get a lot of night terrors, and I almost feel like my body was waking up before my soul in the 5th dimension came back.
Wow.
So I couldn't see. You know how your eyes adjust?
Yeah.
My eyes wouldn't adjust for the first 30 seconds, and that would freak me out. I think I was in a dark room.
Wow.
So I had a lot of night terrors and panic and things along those lines, weird dreams. So a lot happened to me at night when I realized, I don't know how normal this is.
And did you talk to your parents about it, or did they have?
Yes and no. It was something I didn't want to really make as a big thing. But now that I look back at it, I was like, I probably should have,
Because they could have been going through that too, and you got it from them.
And maybe I could have figured it out a lot sooner. And I felt like I was more forced into this kind of stuff, where I'm still learning what it all means too.
Yeah.
But my sister ended up gifting me a tarot deck. And she was giving me all these crystals because she was going through something. Usually you go through something that brings you to the awakening.
Yeah.
Like a breakup, a loss, something like that. It happened to her and ricocheted to me.
Wow.
And I'm really an emotional person. I just wanted to know what actions guys were to take towards me. So I'm reading the cards and I'm like, what's this person's next action?
Yeah.
So I taught myself by asking for the day and then reflecting on how the day went and what cards I got. So it was like everyday thing, but it could be very strugglesome because I didn't realize that it was guidance over prediction.
Yeah.
And that's where people mess up with tarot, where they watch these videos and they're like, well, this lady told me this was going to happen. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you how to work with the energy to make something happen for yourself. So
it was to a point recently, as in 2 months ago, where I was obsessively listening to tarot readers. I am subscribed to at least 15 different ones with notifications. So from morning when I wake up to when I go to sleep at night, because I work, I listen to my headphones. So I was driving myself crazy because I was like, yo, I know it's not going to happen like they're saying, but I'm waiting for okay, well, this weekend they said this is going to happen. I would say I'm hoping to speak to this. It's always about a man, right? So
that's what I wanted to know.
So I was like, well, they said this weekend it's going to happen. It didn't happen. So I started to get frustrated, but not at you guys. I was frustrated at myself for not taking control over what it was taking control of me. So I had to stop completely with tarot reading, at least only for 2 weeks. And then now I'm in control. You know what I mean? So now I listen to it when I want to, when I don't want to. And if I feel like I'm listening it for too long, then I'll stop it and just go listen to music or something.
Well, as somebody who puts out videos, especially when I was heavily putting out all 12 signs, I could tell what titles people gravitated to more. Y'all want someone to come back. You want that communication to come in. But I can't always lie and say that if it's not really going to happen. And some of the times a reader's going to pick up on a person who's communicating to you that you're not connecting who you want it to be. So somebody could have communicated to you that weekend, but because it wasn't the person you wanted, they're inaccurate.
You're absolutely right, because that did happen with me. It wasn't the one I was interested in. It was the old person I was interested in trying to come back. And I was just like, you're actually right. Yeah.
I noticed that as I read. And I'm like, because I would ask them about a certain person and it would show me that this person was going to reach out to me, but I could tell that almost tarot was getting a little bit annoyed with me, like, stop asking the same question. And like, because I'm like, I don't understand what they're trying to say. And then I would go about the weekend and somebody would reach out to me, but since it wasn't the person that I wanted or the offer I wanted to receive, I brought the fact of, well, that was inaccurate what I read, but really it wasn't. You were just picking up on something else.
Wow.
So I had to learn that the hard way as well.
Interesting. So I was mentioning earlier that, well, first I'm going to start when you said about the bad dreams. When I was younger, me and my brother, we shared a room. My parents got divorced when I was 14, but they were separated for like 2 years prior.
Yeah.
Before everything went sideways with my parents, I used to always have bad dreams of my parents my family being murdered, like in different instances. My brother, there was one specific dream that was reoccurring, and you remember how, I don't know if you're as old as me, but I'm 40. But
I'm an old soul.
Okay.
Let's just say that. I'm an old soul.
Do you remember Oregon Trail? The computer game we used to play?
I think so.
So we used to play Oregon Trail, and you go down this raft and all this stuff happened. So it was in a setting like that. We were on a big boat, but it was like a pirate ship going on. And for some reason, it was either my brother or my father getting stabbed with a sword. And I used to have this dream all the time. I used to cry and wake my dad up to pick me up, but I could never tell them what it was about. So even to this day, I don't think I've mentioned to it. And with my mother, it was always something, it was always like the same dreams of different ways of them being killed, in front of me. So I used to wonder, why am I having these dreams? So we lived in Bergenfield in this house from when I was 5 years old to 17 years old. And my parents, again, they split up when I was 14, but as an adult, I used to have dreams about my house I grew up in. And every time I had a dream, I was running away from crocodiles, zombies, ghosts. Like, it was always something chasing me out of the house.
Wow. And
I was wondering, because I was like, when I get older, I want to buy this house, So I was like, what is going on? And I never really looked into it. And this is before this year, so when I'm starting to get more spiritual. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, I wonder what that's all about and why. Because my parents, everyone's still alive. Nothing has happened.
I feel like with the dream interpretation of that part, did you start having the dreams of them being murdered before or after the divorce?
Before.
The savior complex. You feel like you want to save everyone, keep everybody together, have that family dynamic. So you might have felt that, like, in terms of murder, because it's never going to be exactly that, unless you're like in a total lucid dream sort of thing where you're like jumping through dimension, and my dreams are never that controlled.
No,
but like when I would go for something like in along the lines of that drastic, I would say it was probably the savior complex of like wanting to keep everybody happy and together, and almost feeling like if you couldn't do that, then they would dissipate.
Wow, that makes sense though too.
That's how I would view it. But you can always like Google. They got dream interpretations online. I've had a couple interesting dreams, and it depends how you feel when you wake up too. Were you very emotional?
Yeah, very emotional.
So I think your subconscious knew what was going to happen and was just kind of giving you that leeway.
That makes sense, because that's how I am now. Like, that would make a lot of sense.
With the house thing, I kind of think that they just feel like they want you to think bigger. That's the first thing I heard in my head. Think bigger.
Think bigger. But to scare me to think bigger? Like, why you want to scare me to think bigger?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we got some answers, because I want to know that too. Why you gotta scare us?
Right, because I'm scared of crocodiles, I'm scared of zombies and all this stuff, and y'all were chasing me out of my old house, And
because
this
is something you really want. So sometimes like they have to create that fear to push you out of that comfort zone. Maybe it was somewhere you were really comfortable at.
But also, there was a lot of bad moments between my parents in that house too.
Yeah.
So I was thinking along, maybe it's like trauma that I haven't really, I've always been the type to keep stuff to myself when I'm going, even as a kid. So that could also be another thing I was thinking about.
Where it'll just bring back those memories without them even being there.
Yeah.
You're just in the house.
Yeah. It's weird. Not weird. I have to stop saying things are crazy because now I'm realizing crazy is real.
I say the same thing. We can't like I just said, like how we grow up in society, we're conditioned to say certain things. I say it sometimes, so I'm like, this is crazy. And I'm like, this is so interesting. So like shifting the dialogue, that's like a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
That we have to deal with. Well, that's another thing that I'll say, which is a pretty good thing. In correlation to like everything that's happening here. All my life I grew up saying, like whoever does wrong by me, you're gonna get your karma. A lot of us say that. And then I realized that literally maybe a half a year ago, that the more I was saying that if you do wrong by me, you'll get karma, the more I was attracting in people, experience, and circumstances that needed karma in the negative way. So I shifted that whole thing, which I'm still working on to this day. Yeah. People be tested on
they sure do.
Instead of saying, oh, you'll get what you deserve if you do me wrong, I started to say that anybody who does right by me will get blessed beyond belief. Kind of like how you have the LLLL, that I did BBB to help me remember that saying, because blessed beyond belief, it just gives more of a flow to it. And I do have to say, I have seen a shift in the way things have happened for me. Yes.
And you know what, y'all? Like, there was times when before, like, I keep saying when I got to my spiritual self, which I'll explain to you how I got here, but I used to be like certain people will say like, oh, this is a sign. I'm like, here they go with this sign business. But now, seriously, like we are being told signs to help us improve our lives all the time. It depends on if we want to listen to it, So now I'm one of those people like, oh my God, this is a sign. This number that's synchronized like this is a sign like that. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta really believe, and just because we say we're spiritual doesn't mean we won't fuck you up if you come at us sideways, okay? Like we still are spiritual, but we're still human, and spiritual doesn't mean going to church every Sunday and going to Bible studies and stuff. It's more spirituality within yourselves. And I keep saying this all the time because there's a lot of things that has changed within me, but I was never really the church goer type. I had to go because my family made me go. Like as a kid, I had to go. No ifs, ands, or buts. But I'll be the one falling asleep or going.
Color my coloring book.
I would be excited just to go for food. At one point, my first boyfriend, his father was a pastor. So every Sunday, I couldn't wait to go to church. And my parents were like, oh, this is why you want to go to church. Like, But
boys are the motivation sometimes.
It's so true. It's sad, but true.
At that certain point, it really is,
But after that, it's been amazing. Now, what brought me to my spirituality, I was dating somebody last year. You guys, you've heard this story so many times, so whatever. The new people that are coming on, this is their first time.
Yeah, I gotta hear it.
Yes. So last year, I was dating somebody for about 10 months. He had 3 kids that they lived with him. Their mother was nowhere in the picture. And we were together for 10 months, but it was like, he wasn't really doing much. Like he was working at first and he quit his job and then he was not working. He was just being a bum. He has 3 kids. They're going to school. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to do as a grown man and a father of 3. So I was tired. I was getting tired of it, but I wanted a boyfriend so bad and I loved someone saying they loved me. So I was settling, because I was single for so long. So finally, I had my gastric sleeve surgery September 27th last year. Okay. And during that time.
Anniversary.
Yes, girl. And I'm feeling myself. Y'all already know.
And she looked real good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So like a month after my surgery, I was just noticing little things and I'm calling him out on it now. So now he's not liking me the way I'm talking to him, but I'm not even attracted to him anymore. Like I don't even want to kiss you. I don't want to have sex with you. Like, ugh. Like, So I was telling him like, I told him exactly how I felt. He was like, well, I don't know. I like this new bitch you've become, and I'm getting to my higher self. So if you don't like it, then you have to go. So that's when it started. So I spent a lot of time alone to myself because I was out of work because of the surgery. I live alone with my cat Lola Sky, and I love cats. I love animals, period. But so I was I was just doing a lot of thinking, not knowing I was spiritually preparing myself for anything. I just knew I was just tired with the old way of living. I let a lot of people in my life go. I was seeing a therapist too because I knew the surgery was going to be something difficult. Not because I'm a foodie. Okay, so I got better, but then in December I got COVID. So now I went to the hospital for 4 days. Like I felt like I almost died. I don't know, but I felt like I was near death experience. And then I had COVID pneumonia, and then in January I had pneumonia. So I was out pretty much from September till January. Okay, so
elevated sickness.
That's what helped me. It's crazy because I think I needed to get through that. You too?
When I get sick, I got a herniated disc in my back.
Ooh. So when you said elevated sickness,
well, like I did actually a reading on this with growing pains. It will happen, and you will get actually sick too. It doesn't happen. It just like when you're in that growth process that you were in, which you're going to be in again in another area of somewhere that's going to bother you, it's in correlation to a belief system that is no longer serving you. So the person that I went to told me in correlation, some thoughts, some belief systems are like almost like chemicals on your body, on your immune system, and your body will fight you back when it's time to shift. And some people don't take it, and some people do.
Wow, that's what helped me.
The fact that you were sick for so long,
yeah. I mean, I was out, and so I was saying my ex, I brought him up because me and him were planning to do an ayahuasca retreat together.
But the retreat you did.
Yeah, but the group that I was led to, every time they had a retreat, I wasn't able to make it. So it was always something. I wasn't supposed to, right. So after I have my surgery, I'm going through everything. They called me in February. They're like, we're going to do ayahuasca in March, a retreat. Can you come? And I had the money and I had everything. I'm like, yes, I'm there. So I got there and they told me it wasn't ayahuasca. It was actually yahe, which is like an older version of ayahuasca, but not as potent as ayahuasca.
Okay.
So it was for the weekend. We were going to do it Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday we leave. Now you have to prepare yourself before doing that. There's no sex, no masturbation. The sex part is so you're not exchanging energies with people. The masturbation part, I don't get, but I just followed the rules. Yeah. No meat, no alcohol, no weed, even no garlic, onion. Like you can only cook with minimal amount of salt, a minimal amount of oil, and basically eat fruit and vegetables and rice and beans and stuff like that. I would not been
able to do that though.
It was hard. Yeah. It was hard. So they say at least 10 days before. So I did it about, yeah, you got to really prep because you're going to purge some things after you do it. So they want you to be like more healthy and, not have all this bad stuff in your body. So the first night we did it, it was more of an awakening of who I am as a person. I used to downplay when I get compliments. I would be like, oh, well, I need to fix this. But no, it was like my spirits or my ancestors or the thoughts are coming to me. It's like, no, you are that bitch. Like you are dope as hell. Yep. You do what you're supposed to do because of the person you are. Like you're here for a reason, So it showed me my light and not to downplay for anybody. That was the first night. And that was a lot to me. So they said the next night it's going to be a stronger brew. It's going to be a better visions. I was like, how are you going to top what happened last night? Because last night was already bananas, So the next night was this one I had my Kundalini awakening because mind you, the medicine hit me stronger than everyone else and quicker because of my surgery. So some people would take like 45 minutes for it they start to feel it, but I was feeling it in like 20-25 minutes. And it's a ceremony that we do. It was 12 of us in the living room. We had our comforters, our yoga mats and pillows or whatever, and you go one at a time to take the brew. It's really bitter and a little thick, but you just gotta do it. Job done. So at one point I noticed it took a little longer this time, but I noticed I'm taking like deep breaths and like to the point where I'm laying down now and my body is moving as I'm taking like and I'm like, okay, that's not me. I'm not controlling it. So I was like, what is happening? But I wasn't scared. So then one of the facilitators noticed. And so when someone's having an experience, they come and they bless you and they cleanse you with music and they have their sage and everything. So she's noticed me or whatever. So I'm starting to now, I'm breathing like heavy. Like now my whole body's moving and now my body's like jerking and doing all this weird stuff. But it felt like, at first I thought it was like an ancestor. I woke up from somewhere. But then I realized that it was my spirit, like my higher self waking up for the first time, I believe. Because I never had this experience before in my life. And also, when that happened, I started saying the name of my podcast, MyLovelyLunaticLeoLife. It just kept repeating in my head. Wow. And I was seeing an image. It was like a shadow, like blowing life. Every time I'm saying my lovely lunatic, I'm seeing her blowing life, or I'm assuming it was blowing life, but she's like going like this, and she just kept doing it. So I was like, okay, Then in my first season, guys, I spoke about an abortion I had in 2016, which I wasn't completely over. But I actually felt the spirit of that baby forgive me the second time. So I felt so much peace and calm.
Chills.
Yeah, like because I was not over it, but it was, I used to cry when I heard, like, I felt sad when I heard babies cry, or even on TV or in public and babies talk and everything. It took me so long to get over it. And then when I finally did, I was able to talk about it on my podcast. But I was glad I waited because I had some naysayers on there. But it didn't even, I just deleted it. I didn't even.
Gonna have them.
Yeah.
Gonna have them on this one, maybe.
And I was ready, but the thing is, I was ready for it. So I couldn't talk about it back then when it happened. It took a few years for me. So I felt the spirit of the baby forgive me. Then me and my mother and my brother have a crazy ass relation. They're both Libras. And I'm surrounded by Libras, but my mother and my brother are the ones who can trigger the fuck out of me, you know? So
they know how to push the button.
Yeah, they do. They sure do. And so I realized that what came to me was, I have a stronger spirit than them. They've had a lot of things they've dealt with and they're going through. So I just have to either bite the bullet and just deal with it, or keep them separated from me for some time. You know what I mean? So it was like, that's my family. I can't do that. So it was like learning new things about me, how I'm stronger than the other people around me. And so that was that. So I did that in March, and that's when I started going to tarot readings on YouTube. I always believed in tarot readings and psychic readings. I always used to do that all the time, but I don't know why I never thought that it would be on YouTube, like, for free.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow. So that's when I started going on YouTube, and I followed you. And I was also like, when this year started, even before I did Yahe, I felt a change was coming. Like, I still feel it, I just don't know when, you know? And even the way I found this podcast studio, and I got back into my podcasting again, and the way things were flowing for me this year, even before I did the Yahe, was showing me that something great is gonna happen. You know what I mean? So it was, I still feel it. I don't know what's going to happen, but the podcast is the reason, because that's my power. My voice is my power.
Absolutely.
And I've learned that my purpose here is to live my life and let people, inspire people to live their lives and to find their happiness too, just by being me. Like, I don't even try hard, but I noticed that because every time I would talk about stuff I do, which my mom was like, why do you always tell your business? And I'm like, I don't know, but I know it's helping somebody else.
Yes,
you know?
Exactly. I believe we go through things to help other people go through this similar thing.
Yeah.
And you will find them, and they will be broken like you were in those points. And then you will be in that energy of being the voice of reason for people.
Yeah.
Especially as a Leo, like, we're only sign ruled by the sun. The sun doesn't move. It's stationary. It shouldn't have to do much to attract.
That's true. Ooh.
So, as like, I'm lackadaisious astrology. I don't know that much, but in terms of just like what each energy is doing, like, people should feel like, I felt that gravitational just with the way you messaged me. I'm like, hey, yes, let's do it. So you will find those people that are resonating with you, and you'll find people that don't like the light. Some people don't like the light because they don't want to be seen. They don't want to be exposed, and the light will shine and people will run from it. And that's probably what you saw going through most of your life, and also what you're seeing now with people like me or other people who come here or want to come here. You don't have to do anything.
No.
You just have to station like the sun, and they will revolve. Not that the world revolves around, you know, but technically,
I mean,
in retrospect, if you want to use it as like us being the planet we are, the sun does not move.
Right.
So, and I always say this too, if you're like overworking, or if you're making it, if something is too difficult for you, it's probably not what you're supposed to do. What you're supposed to do is supposed to come easy, it's supposed to flow, and it's supposed to bring expansion.
Yeah.
But that's another thing too, of steps we take. I'm sure the podcast wasn't your first idea, but it was the 8th one that worked. And this should even inspire people to not get down on the first 5 ideas that don't work out for you.
That's true.
Because being on YouTube was not my first idea. I didn't even know what I wanted to do, honestly. I was just like, I don't know. I just know that weird stuff happens.
I've been doing radio for almost 20 years. The podcasting thing came about in maybe 2018.
So you've always felt like your voice was that powerhouse.
Yeah.
See? So
and I never
was around you.
And I never looked at it that way. I just knew I liked to talk. But my father he never liked to listen to my show. He's like, well, if you're not getting paid for it, why do I have to listen? You know? And that used to hurt me, but I never stopped me from doing it because I love to do it. And even to a point, I used to work for Wendy Williams years ago when she was on WBLS. It's a whole crazy story with that. But
I've seen a lot of stuff on her articles.
Yeah, she's something else. But I used to work for her, and she even talked mess about me on the air, and she was like, I'll make sure she never gets a job in radio and all this. And I was devastated for like 2 years every time I talked about it, but now I love to talk about it. I love to tell because I'm still going.
Look at where she is at now.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so that's the karma.
No, it really is, because what for what purpose would be the reason to bash somebody on national television when you are a radio person for her?
Yeah,
it's not like you were front and center and you were directing what she was doing.
I was her intern. I was just an intern at the time, and it was like, damn. And I'm trying to get into this game.
That's still not right.
It was messed up, and I was babysitting her son. Like, it was a whole thing. I babysat and tutored for her for 2 years. Went to Puerto Rico and Vegas with them and everything.
Wow.
So I left on good terms. So for me to hear that months after I left her, I was so confused. Like, why? What did I do?
Did she say your name as well?
She didn't say my name, but she was like the intern from New Jersey who used to babysit and tutor my son. So it was
you might as well added her.
And it was my friends who it was two different times she did that. And my friend called me. He was like, yo, Wendy's talking about you, number one. The second time was during Halloween. He was like, what were you for Halloween? I was like, a French maid. He's like, Wendy's talking about you again. So I was like, oh my God, But
that's what people do when they don't have anything better to talk about. They have to talk about other people.
But I'm an intern.
And those are the people I try my best to, I'm in it, but then I'm not really in it.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing too that I realized with spiritual awakening is that, like, yeah, we can gossip, we can do this, but I'm not trying to do it for 5 hours no more.
No.
That was when we were in middle school, high school, years ago. Like, that's not the energy that we should or want to sit in anymore. But look at where she's at now. Okay?
Yeah, she's
now the whole nation and other international. So granted, yours was on like a minimal level of not too direct in your name.
Yeah.
But, what goes around comes around.
And it definitely did come around for her. But I'm just trying to, just be elevated into a different person. Like, I used to be I was always good-hearted. I never did things for no reason. I mean, I'm still a little petty, but I'm trying to turn it down. If somebody forces me if they bring it out of me, then that's on them. But I'm trying to change my ways as far as I can easily get. If somebody, not even easily, but if somebody says something wrong to me, I let it go. But if it's something that keeps recurring, that's when they see a side that they never thought I would be. And that's my friend, my brother, my mother. They bring that out. But it's like I'm trying to learn to hold my tongue more,
I can definitely agree with that. Because I just realized that half the things are not even worth my effort. And half the time people just want a reaction out of it.
Yeah, that's what I've learned too.
And that's what I realized. And I'm like, you don't even deserve my reaction. Because and that's when they keep coming back for it, because it's almost like this monster that needs to be fed of validation.
That's so crazy.
Of a reaction. And when you give it to them, they're satisfied, and then they'll dip off for a little bit, come back in just to re-trigger you somehow.
And I let that go for too long. So I was like, I'm trying to change my ways and change the people around me.
Yeah.
So I'm letting people go. That's it. So what do you have, like, anything planned in the future? What is it that you want to do?
Well, so I do have a couple things planned. Right now my MissMachiste's tarot channel is a little bit on the back burner because I started going to school to become a massage therapist.
Oh, nice.
Which is actually something I wanted to do 15 some odd years ago, but my passed on father said, no, people are going to be touching you. So I didn't go. But now he's passed on, so there I'm going to school.
And he can watch over you to make sure nobody touches you.
Exactly. But so basically I'm more focused on the Leo channel because, they deserve it. I go where the energy flows. So the Leos just got my personality the best. And the Pisces get my personality too, because it's like relatable to them. I don't know if it's because it's like strong signs for me or what it is, but once I realized that half of my time was split and I was going to night class, I couldn't overwhelm myself.
Yeah.
Because then I would have burned out and nobody would have got anything. So basically for the next 6 months or so, my main channel is going to be only like 5 zodiac signs.
Okay.
I'm in the process of publishing a oracle deck.
Really?
Yes,
Nice.
I will definitely send you one.
I
You're
am
one of the first people.
Yay.
Cool. We can do a little unboxing.
We can. I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to.
But so basically the oracle deck is focused on self-love and romantic love, because I feel like self-love and romantic love go hand in hand. Certain people you meet because you don't love yourself enough, and they teach you to do it by not loving you.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
It's very interesting. So I basically have this whole deck. It's already done. I just need the box.
Okay.
Oh, the outside
The
box.
design?
Yeah, and I need to figure out how I want to publish it, self-publish, or
cool.
another way around. So hopefully sometime next year that's out and on it. I have like the wish flash paper kits that I'm doing. And then I also realized, I don't know if you know your life path number.
Yeah, 5.
Mine's 4.
Oh.
So when I was researching it, it basically said that 4s are the builder, which would make sense because I built the whole persona of a different person. And I didn't realize, I'm like, oh wait, no, I really am life path number 4. Because at first I was reading it and I was like, I don't know if that makes sense. And then I realized that I also, it said in there, a physical manifester, which I always thought that I was just speaking things into existence. So I started to watch what I said because of that, not because of like karma at first. Sometimes I was like, wait, I want that person to say something to me. Let me not say they're going to reach out to me. And then I just realized that I knew the tools. So I'm like, okay, kind of like the magician card, the guy who has all the tools on the deck. And I was like, okay, I need to figure out a platform to share these tools with people, because everybody needs to have these tools. And it was so simple. And I'm like, no way, it's too simple. And they're like, no, yeah, exactly. And that's why people don't believe it. The more simple, the more observant, like signs, like, oh yeah, it's just a sign. Like, no, those things are actually, the universe is talking to us constantly.
Yeah.
Like 24/7. I've gotten some crazy signs in the physical. I've gotten some crazy signs in my dreams. But, I am just trying to give everybody the tools that I use to build MissMachiste.
Got it.
Basically. So once I built her and I saw that what I was doing worked, I'm like, okay, I need to figure out a way to give this to people too, by also continuously building my platform. So like the manifestation kits that I have. So hopefully once my LLC is processed, I'll be able to have like a manufacturer.
Oh, cool.
So I don't have to, every single envelope is me with the sticker. I only got 2 hands.
Entrepreneurship takes a lot of work,
y'all.
y'all.
That's another thing too, is that MissMachiste works 24/7. She does not turn off. I'm my regular person maybe 5% of the time. Maybe when I'm just at school now, really. But when I wasn't at school, MissMachiste was
All
from
the
6
time.
to 10 too. So
Does that get draining though sometimes?
yes, and that's where I had to draw the line with what I was doing with my channels when I did start going to, but I also realized like it's just never ending. Like I get a video out and then I'm advertising the video I got out.
Right. And you put out videos often, a lot.
And I'm not one of those, like, I can't read in a lump sum. Like I need to breathe for a second. Like I'm seeing certain tarot readers, I'm like, y'all have determination to sit there and read over and over and get all 12 signs done in like 6 hours. I would not be able to do that because I feel like I have to put special energy. It's just, I don't know, maybe one day I'll be able to have more.
I understand what you're saying though, but
I feel like after reading I need to breathe for like 15 minutes. And a lot of people say too, like, I hear someone in the background. And I'm like, I hear them too, but I don't know what they're saying. But I know when I read, I hear things or I see things, and that's sometimes behind the camera you don't see, that I'm sitting there like this. And I'm like, I feel like I see this, and that. And that's where I also was weary of being on camera, because I'm like, I don't know, these people are going to judge me. They're like, why is this girl looking down? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what they say. And just like you know you're a talker.
Yeah.
So you talk out loud and you answer yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
All the time.
I do that too, but then the answer doesn't necessarily always come from me. It's something else. And I'm like, is that the answer? Are you sure?
Am I supposed to say
that? Me.
Wow.
But it's a journey. And I feel like I was forced into it, so I feel like I'm just learning as I go. And that's how I started. I was giving free readings to people on Instagram during COVID because I was bored.
Oh, wow. So that's really from COVID.
So that's what I did. I did for free.
Oh,
so I gave out. That's how you build.
Yeah.
You have to have a trusted community first.
Yeah.
So I did free readings during COVID. What was anybody doing during COVID? I was sitting home doing
Well, I was
nothing.
traveling.
Well, certain people were essential workers too. But I was a nanny, so I wasn't really doing anything because I just didn't like real school. So I just did out of the ordinary jobs.
Yeah.
And basically, I made an Instagram, MissMachiste. Maybe I'll tell you, MissMachiste comes from, because no one ever knows what this is.
I wanted to.
MissMachiste comes from, my parents met at work. They work in like some sort of consulting firm, and they named their computer, my dad specifically, and my mom copied him, Machiste. And I'm like, well, who's Machiste? And they're like, oh, I read a book. It was Hercules' son. And I love Hercules.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like, I never heard of Machiste before. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make myself Miss Machiste. I just felt like it flowed. And it was something that like wasn't like ordinary. I felt like it was unique. And I was just like, whatever, let's just see what happens.
It is unique.
And that's how Miss Machiste came about. I made her an Instagram. I put out, hey, I'm doing free readings. And people DM'd me and I gave them readings. And I was just like, oh, wait. These people are telling me I know what's going on. So like
That's
also
cool.
they gave me the feedback when I wasn't confident either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did like 300 free readings.
Wow,
and
damn.
I'm typing them. I wasn't talking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I wasn't confident. So like half the time I'm doing the reading, I'm looking in the book.
Wow.
And then I'm figuring it out using my intuition. And then I built a community of like 300 plus people, made a YouTube channel, and they all flocked to the
that's
channel.
Nice. That's nice.
You got to give some free stuff away.
True.
It's just the way life
To start
works.
and to promote yourself. You're going to have to at least once or twice. Or not once or twice, but a couple times.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was about to just say. But I'm going to continue to my ayahuasca experience.
Oh, yes. I want to know more about that.
Because
I want to do something like that.
All right, I have the perfect group for you, so we'll talk about that off the air. I actually interviewed my guy Antonio, Cacique Antonio, on my second season, 5th episode, and it was just, the thing is, when you go with these people that you've never met before, you leave with a family.
Absolutely.
After only 2 days, so the ayahuasca retreat was in upstate New York, like 5 hours away. Even on the way there, it was so many amazing things happening. One of them was an eagle flew across the highway in front of us. I've never seen a wild eagle before. It's always at the zoo or somewhere.
Yeah.
Then when we got closer to the house, like a mile away, the sky was, now it was set, the sun was setting, but the sky was like a Lisa Frank picture. Remember Lisa Frank, the binders we had? It was like turquoise blue and pink.
Wow.
The sky, the whole, and I was like,
the sky was actually an interesting color when I was
Come
on
here.
way here. Yeah.
Girl.
The red sun, I mean the orange sun was like right in the middle.
Wow.
I don't know if you saw, I don't think you were at work yet.
No, I missed it because it was dark by the time I got out. But so many amazing things was happening, and when I saw the way the clouds were, because it was like a bunch of clouds, like miles long, and it was just turquoise blue and pink, and I was like, we're entering a portal of protection. I don't know where it came from, but it just came to me like this is a reason, right?
Yeah.
So the first night we were indoors, and that's when I was talking with some ancestors and stuff like that, and I really don't remember too much from that night, but I know there were times where I couldn't move my body. I was purging a lot. So there's times I was like this on the floor, like it just purging away, and
Like actual
throw up. Yeah,
Well, I know like some of those retreats, you're like sometimes like I see videos like people are like in the distress of like screaming out the energy. that purging.
There, you can purge. You can purge from screaming, crying, throwing up, or through the other end. So the bathroom was right there. Yeah. So and that's why. Well, there was one right next to us, but that's why we have a certain diet we have to do before we do this. You know, mainly for that. So the first night was so weird because when it first started to hit me, it looked like black spider webs was coming down, you know, and there were certain things that I'm seeing through an eye of an insect. I'm assuming a spider because the way it was coming down. And then later on, I spoke to my crush, his 5D. We spoke to each other. And so the first night, okay, that's not. It was still really good, but second night is where it went down.
A Kundalini night.
No, well, this is with ayahuasca. I already had my Kundalini awakening.
You already did that one.
But this was
so
a different.
Multiple.
Yeah, I did too, and I did Wachuma. I don't know if you know that. That's a cactus, San Pedro cactus plant. So they call it the grandfather plant medicine. Me and my mother went together, but we didn't feel anything from that one. So I don't really talk about that. But so the second night of the ayahuasca, I had first let me start. Friday night before the first ceremony, the man that was giving the medicine, he brought like 10 oracle decks. So I asked, what am I going to see this weekend, and pulled one card from each deck. One card in particular.
That's what you're about to do later.
Yes. One card in particular, what rang out to me was the Lemuria oracle deck. And the card I pulled was Soul Star Chakra merging with the divine.
Wow.
And so I read it, but it was gibberish to me. I didn't understand anything it said. So and for some reason I took a picture of it. I didn't take a picture of any other cards. I took a picture of this and put it on the altar next to this, which I got in Zanzibar from my birthday.
Oh, that is beautiful.
So I wanted it to be blessed. So the ring and the necklace I put on the altar with this card. So okay, so that was the first night. So the second night is what that card was talking about, because I went to multi-dimensions. I visited at least 7 different universes, or I call it universe. I don't know if it's dimension, what it was. But there was one part where I heard animal sounds. Now the second night we were outside. Now this was in August. We're in upstate New York in the mountains. It was cold as hell. Like it was freezing. It was like 40 something degrees, and we had covers with us, but that didn't help, and I wasn't prepared. Like I didn't know it was gonna be that cold. So I'm outside under the covers, but I'm still seeing visually. I'm seeing, you know. So at one point I had the covers over me, freezing, and I'm hearing the animal sounds, sounding like creatures. But I wasn't staying in places for too long. There was another place that was I went to that felt like home. Like I started crying because I didn't want to leave, but I was thinking about my family here. I was like, I can't stay here. I have to go to my mother, my brother, so I was like, this must have been one of my places. Yeah. So when I asked to speak to my ancestors without having to take shrooms or plant medicine, I didn't realize that my ancestors aren't only human. Like there are other types of ancestors I have that are not human. Yes. Because the places I went to were no humans. It was creatures. Yes. And even the way I was breathing, I don't remember. I just remember taking deep breaths here and there. I don't even remember breathing for long periods of time. You know, and so there was times where there was even 2 places I went to that was like kind of like deserted. It looked like a desert, and I'm like, oh, this place is beneath me, and I went somewhere else. So even the way my attitude was kind of cocky and like royal. I felt like royal, you know. So when I did Yahe, I felt like a warrior queen fighter, like I was a royal warrior in that time with Yahe. Then when I did the ayahuasca the second night, I was like, no, I felt like, honestly, I felt like a daughter of the universe. The way I was going to different dimensions, and the way I was confident enough to like dismiss certain places or feel, you know what I mean? So it was weird to me. So that night or the next morning when I went upstairs to my room, there was a black spider on my bed. And to me, I was like, is this one of my ancestors right here? Because I was a spider last night, you know what I mean? So things were falling into place. So when we were talking about our experiences the next day after we ate breakfast, I was like happy. Like I feel so confident. I'm so powerful. Like what I saw is confusing me, but I just knew I had this power. I just didn't know I had this power. Then when I get home, I'm going through my phone and I saw the picture of the card that I took, the Soul Star Chakra, and that was the second place. The picture that's on that card was the second place I went to. My nails, I had pink nails at the time. When I was at that place, my nails were growing slowly. And the white that's in the card picture was like spider webs, and the colors that are showing through it is the colors of what I saw where I was at the whole time. I have to show it to you because it was super crazy.
I gotta do one of these. You know what's interesting is I've been looking for something like that, but I'm just like untrustworthy for certain things. Maybe this is why I was supposed to come here, which is actually extra interesting because today I'm noticing while you're talking, because you brought up that ring and that necklace. Today in the Leo reading for the Sagittarius new moon, they got the feather. Is that a feather?
I didn't finish it. Yes, I didn't finish the reading, but I was listening to it at work.
What is this? A dog?
No, it's a lion. I have 723. This is the Leo symbol and a lion, and 723 in Roman numerals.
Yeah, I can only like see this part. Oh, I like that. No, I felt the feather. I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute. She said that's a blessed ring,
and I didn't even finish it. Wow.
And in that card, it said the feather is going to be a calling card to you. That the unicorns are near you.
And I've been seeing a lot of feathers too.
Me too. I stepped on a feather this morning.
This is the image that I saw with my hand. Like my hands was coming out. Like everything around me was these colors. And the white that you see was more like a white spider web. And my nails were growing slowly in this image. So this is the soul star chakra merging with the divine. And then the wording that it said, it's all this gibberish. I didn't really understand it. But it was talking about multi-dimensions happening while you're here. If you think inside the box, you're not going to believe it. But if you think outside the box, you'll see it, and you do.
I think anything's possible.
Anything is possible. And I'm realizing this now. So there's times that I feel weak because, when I came back home and I saw this card, I broke down crying. I called the facilitators that I was just with. I was just like, it hit me where I didn't know how to receive everything. You know what I mean? Like, the day before or earlier that day, I was excited. I was like, wow, I'm so powerful. But now I was like, damn, I'm so powerful. What am I supposed to do now? Like, I'm a human with this, I don't know. I was all sorts of emotions.
It gives you a little bit of a like, how do I take that and put it here?
Yeah, and apply it.
Is very strugglesome.
Very strugglesome. And I already knew this year is going to be different, but I didn't know how different. But I feel like this year is setting me up for next year. I feel like next year is going to be what I've been waiting for, you know?
Absolutely.
So it's just a lot that's been going on in my mind, even with love. Like I've never been lucky in love. Never. I've always been the friend, you know, never, or just giving myself to people just because I want the attention. Yeah. But now that I've lost all this weight, I'm getting unwanted attention, you know, but it's easy for me to just you know, I'm not giving in to everybody.
But we're going to change that because you are lucky in love. Yes. From this day forward.
And I've been feeling it.
I used to identify myself in that form too. I used to be like, I keep attracting people who have baggage or this or that. And I'm like, no, I need to stop identifying myself as somebody who attracts people with baggage. So
sometimes it's just a simple thought change that'll make things better.
And I'm good at that because I'm that person that will remind you to do it because I'm reminding myself to do it.
Wow.
Because you know your brain is just like think about it in this aspect. This is a book that I read. It's called The Untethered Soul. I only read like the first half of it, but he basically gives you a way to disassociate your mental by. So, say you're saying, like I feel like I'm so unlucky in love. Imagine your brain was outside of yourself as an actual person. And they kept saying to you, yeah, Adrienne, you are unlucky in love. You wouldn't want them around you.
Damn, you don't want to hear that.
So you don't want it inside.
No, you're absolutely right.
So that's what I started doing. I started thinking of my brain as, well, would I want to be around this person in the physical who's telling me that I'm unlucky or that I'm this or that I'm that? No. Oh, we're taking a picture a lot.
It's a boomerang. I'm trying, but I don't know. A boomerang. I tried, guys. I tried.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Look at me looking at you the way I'm looking. You guys, can I just tell you, I've been so excited that she's coming on this show. And I didn't want to keep texting you like, I can't believe
I was doing it.
That's why I was like, okay, she's just as excited as I am. Because I've been feeling drawn to you even especially since I've reached out to you. But the funny thing is, I've been feeling so drawn to you. So whenever you're doing your readings, I feel like, okay, she's gonna feel this connection. It's gonna be but then it's like, no, this is not what I want to hear.
But sometimes it's not.
But sometimes it's,
even when I watch readings for myself, I'm like, that's not what I want to hear. But that's pretty accurate of how I'm feeling.
Yeah. So I was like, damn it, So I was like, hopefully we'll see the connection and stuff. But you definitely, like, your personality, I enjoy listening to you. I love your voice. I love your personality. And you, like, do you think this is your purpose in life, to help us?
Yeah, absolutely.
To guide us.
I also knew that when I started the channel, there was going to be specific people that were going to get closer to me.
Wow.
I knew it already. I didn't even know who it was going to be or where they would be, but I knew that there was going to be specific soul tribe members that I was going to meet through this.
That's beautiful.
I didn't know who, but I knew. Because this is not what I would have done.
Yeah.
Even like my friends, they're like, you've never said the word tarot. And I'm like, I know, I never did. This is just something that they literally almost like a crane, like at a video, like not a video game, like at an arcade where you crane and then they drop them. That's exactly how I felt. I felt like they just picked me up and dropped me into tarot.
Well, did you have to?
Like, here I am.
Did you leave certain people behind once you found this, or did certain people exit their life because of
both
negativity?
Certain people left me behind, and I left certain people behind. But like, I have that savior complex of like, no, but I can help you, this, that, and the other. And I came to the realization, which I'm probably still going to continuously learn, is that some people don't want your help. And, some people don't like the positive aspect of things either, and like, if you think of it in perspective, somebody who's having like a really, really crappy day, somebody like me being like, hey, how are you doing? They're going to be like, girl, shut up. I'm having a bad day. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to help you or something. So I realized that like the people that need me will be attracted towards me, and the people that don't will dissipate, no matter how much I love and want them in my life. Like I had to come to like a really big acceptance, and like I'm really not that open with what I do. Like I don't brag about it. Nobody knows who I am or what I do. I just tell people that I do online therapy. That's a nice way to look at it. Because that's really how I look at it. Yeah. I really do feel like half the time, like even for me, I finish a reading sometimes and I'm like, I said some things I needed to hear. And it's just a correlation to how it just shows me that this is where I belong. And even like people like you and people that I have connected to through being MissMachiste, I'm like, this is why. Yeah. So it does make sense. And I'm a very curious person, and I'm a very go with the flow sort of person, even though I have like the Leo of the fixed. I have a lot of pride. That's where the Leo comes in. My pride is like I don't want anybody to get the best of me. Yeah. Like there's something in my body that makes me just turn away. And like even when I feel like I'm not supposed to be around certain people, I'll feel like my skin is coming off. Really? Mm-hmm. Like if I'm near somebody and first if you're lying to me, my suboccipitals will freeze.
I've never heard that word before.
The back of your, like, the little nook under there? Yeah. Those are your suboccipital muscles.
I learn every day.
And it's like where the trigger points are. You press it and your head feels better. So that's actually why I'm going to massage school, because I am in the correlation to being somebody who's guiding people. And since my chiropractor was holistic and he fixed my herniated disc without surgery, I'm like, I gotta help people, because people are wasting time at hospitals. People are wasting time doing this, doing that. I got five almost steroid shots in my spine. Nothing helped but this chiropractor. And who guided me to him? A medium.
Oh, really?
She's like, I know a guy. And I'm like, yes, you do. Give me the information. Because if you know a guy, I'm going to go, because that's how the spirits connect. Beautiful. They will tell you. And I believe we get signs from the people who has passed on very frequently, but you have to keep them alive. If you don't talk to them, I feel like their energy will dissipate.
Really?
So like I try to talk to like as many people as possible. And like my dad, when he first passed away, like I didn't want to believe that he was gone, so I wouldn't talk to him. So I wasn't really getting that many signs. Once I started talking to him more, like I started getting like these crazy signs. I saw him in my dreams. He would get like, I saw one of the dreams, he was like older and then he was like younger, like as I was getting closer to him. Like I have a lot of things that happen to me when I'm asleep. Like I dream a lot of people who have passed on.
You know, for me, I don't know if it's because I try to block it off. My grandmother and one of my best friends, my grandmother passed away in 2002. One of my best friends passed away in 2010. Now, when they first passed away, they came to me in my dreams. But ever since that, like the first 3 days, within those 3 days, they came to me in my dreams. My grandmother came to me 2 nights in a row. But I don't see them. I don't feel them sometimes. So I don't know if it's because I blocked them out. But one day when I took shrooms, guys, you know I'm an avid shroomer. I like to take shrooms. Like I used to take with my ex. We used to drink and smoke and stuff. But even though we did that, I knew there was something going on with, like I would feel something. So now when I'm taking it, ever since I started the plant medicine, I take it at night, and it's to the point where I'm feeling things like move past me type thing, you know? So one day my friend came to bring me something, and I was waiting for her all day. But of course, once I take my shrooms, then she wants to call me like, I'm on my way. So I was like, damn. So during the daytime, I have to go downstairs. When I was coming back upstairs in the elevator, I knew I was in the elevator alone, but I felt so much presence around me, and I looked around just because I was like, and I was like, damn, y'all gonna follow me downstairs? Like I just knew, and I never felt them like that before. So one of my best friends, her brother is into spirituality too, and he blesses people and stuff like that. So I was going through one of my little sad moments at one time. So I was complaining to her, and she told me she was talking to her brother, and he happened to ask how I was doing. And she's like, you know, she's feeling some type of way. He's like, well, I didn't know she's fully protected. And she was like, what do you mean? He was like, when he had blessed me a couple years ago, he's like, he doesn't always see people's ancestors, but he was like, with her, the room was surrounded with people around her. Like she has people. So when you're saying that, I was like, I don't think of these people. Like, I try not to think of death. I try to block it out.
Spirit gang.
They're
with me. Well, I read a book on that. I read a lot of books. I'll give you my list if you want.
Yes, please.
But there is a book that they teach you how to awaken your spirit guides and how to awaken your passed on loved ones as your ancestors. So I first started, this is before my dad passed on, so I didn't really, I had my grandpa on the other side and my grandpa, but my grandpa already came to me in a dream, and I freaked out in the hospital when they were gonna pull the plug on him, because I was like, I saw him last night, he told me, but I don't know what he told me.
Oh wow.
But I got the answer of what he told me a year later in the movie Moulin Rouge, actually.
Really?
So at the end of the movie, I don't know what was happening, but the Serene, I think her name was, or whatever her name was, she was dying, and she said to him, tell people. Tell people. And right then, I know that was my grandpa told me to tell people that I saw him.
Oh, wow.
And that other people can see their passed on loved ones too, but you have to awaken them. So I talk to them constantly, and I know we have certain spiritual guides. So the first guide that was working with me was a masculine, and his name was Anthony. He's dissipating now because I'm on a different level. Okay. So now a new guide has come in, and her name is May. So the more you work on it, I ask, I'm like, what's your names? Show me your names. And I knew the first one name was Anthony.
Wow.
When I saw his name on a blue taxi, my thing is blue cars. So his name was on a blue taxi, and the number was 201-2222-2222. And I'm like, there he is, Anthony's taxi. And then all of a sudden, 4 Anthonys came into my life at the same time.
Wow.
And I was like, that has to be his name. And then I was getting signs after the fact about a person named May. But see, now in my eyes, I know now that it was my spirit guide coming in, but she didn't come in until my dad died in May. So when that happened, I'm like, don't they tell me the month?
Wow.
I'm like, did they just tell me? And I kept saying it to people. I keep seeing May, Everywhere I see the name May. and then I lost my uncle and my dad in the same month. They were brothers. They must have been like soul tribe members or something.
Wow.
Because once my uncle passed away, my dad's cancer spread like
Oh
that.
my God.
So they must have been connected.
Yeah.
Like they had to go at the same time. And he died the 13th. My dad died the 31.
Wow, damn.
My dad died on Memorial Day, which is a big thing because he was like my hero. Like he was one of those people that like I would come home crying and I'll be like what happened to you in the Wendy Williams aspect? Not on that larger scale, but that happened to me when I worked for this lady that was just the worst lady. She had something to say about everybody, especially once they walked away from her. And I'm like, okay,
that's
really?
crazy.
Like,
just let us go.
And I never resonated with that. And I'm like, why are, like, no need to be so fake. But anyways, she accused me of doing things I didn't do. And she was like, and it was a mom and pop thing in our town. So when all that happened, I was just like devastated, and I went home and I cried to my dad, and I'm like, this lady's gonna tell everybody that I'm this person that I'm not. And my dad looked at me, he's like, let her. You know your truth, right? Let her say whatever she's gonna say. But I needed that. He was like, let her do what she's gonna do, because at the end of the day, you know you did nothing wrong. And he would, like, in a tough, stern way, but if he, in a year later, her business closed down.
See, how about that?
So there you go.
Wow.
But that happened to me, and he was very stern, and he was just like, let her talk about you. I don't care. He's like, let her talk about you to everybody. I'm like, what? Everyone? He's like, trust me, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And he was just like that type of person that he walked around with like dollars, and he would hand out dollars to like
he
people
seemed like
that
a
he felt
sweetheart.
like needed it.
When you told your story about the piano man on the cruise, like I was crying, like, wow.
Well, that's like where I mean by keeping them alive. Like, I know my dad loved that I went up to that lady.
Yeah.
And you know, it is a shutdown type of thing because you don't want to remember they're gone. But I look at it as now you just have more power to help me.
True. That's true. I don't even I can't even.
It's still not processed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I still find myself feeling like I'm just like waiting for him to walk through the door.
And when did he pass? Last year or 2 years ago?
May 31st, 2021. Yes,
last year.
Yeah.
Damn.
And he knew what I was doing. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry for your losses as well.
Thank you.
Which is actually funny because before I left, I got the box ready and I was about to leave, and I ran back upstairs and I grabbed the Talking to Heaven deck. Somebody told me she had somebody on the other side. Which I mean, like a lot of people do. But something stopped
Somebody
me
wanted
out
to say
the
something
door.
to me.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting, especially since now you're saying how you feel towards it. Now I know why. They're like, oh, we gonna wake her up. Break the deck, MissMachiste.
Oh, wow.
Put it in your box. You could even tell. It's just like off to the side.
Wow.
Like I had to like shovel it in there. But yeah, I definitely feel like it's a hard process to go through where like I still feel like I wake up and I forget and I think like, yeah, he's about to walk through the door, but he doesn't. But then I also came to the realization that like, you know, like I was once a little starseed over there too, and I'll be home again one day, and I just need to like bring him to life like I know he would want to be brought to life, and like telling the stories in my videos, and it got us here. You know what I mean? And expressing it to people, and you know, all of that stuff. Like my dad's funny. Like he used to call all men are dogs, right? That's what he used to say. And I actually met somebody in my massage school that I kind of felt like I couldn't read that well, and like I kind of felt like they were trying to get close to me, like a male. And when I found out that they had ulterior motives, I stepped in dog shit that day.
Literally?
In the backyard. Yes, in our backyard. And my dad has a butterfly bush in the backyard. And once after all that happened and I went home, I'm like, yo, you got jokes. You made me step in dog shit.
That's one thing I've learned. The universe is hilarious.
They are
Out of the universe or the ancestors, because there's certain things that happen. I'm like, oh, wow, really?
So that actually happened last week. So you're the only one who knows that story.
Wow. Yeah, no, they are funny as hell.
They do have jokes.
Interesting. So my journey has led me to you.
And I'm so glad it did.
I'm glad it did too, because I really since we started talking, I've been feeling like a chemistry between us.
Absolutely.
So I definitely want to keep in touch with you, and there's a reason why this has happened. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
I'm so happy.
I'm so, even hearing her in my head next to me, I'm still bugging out because I hear her on my phone all the time, This is one of the people that I was listening to from morning to night, and so it's just wow. It's it's showing me that whatever I want is possible. You know what I mean?
And I'm the person who's going to tell you that.
Yeah.
And I'm the person who's going to give you the ideas.
Yes, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you follow Miss Machiste. What's the Leo one again?
MissMachisteLeos.
Simple as that. Follow her on MISS, just like Miss A is MISSA. I hate when people. Yes, and it irks me when people put MSA. I'm like, no, it's MISS. Okay, get it right. So thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you go follow her on her YouTube page. She's amazing. She's awesome. And thank you again so much for being here.
I appreciate it. I had a great time.
Yes,
I'm
good.
Having fun, so.
Yes, you will see you. Bye. You ready?
I'm ready. You guide me.
Yes, got you. Okay.
You're the guider now.
I know. Yay!
Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
It was.
Over, ready?
Yeah, I know. And now, a tidbit of my own personal tarot reading. Enjoy.
But in this guide, it doesn't have to do with you, though. It has to do with this person's finances. Or you do say he was a business owner. He may not feel like he can handle a romantic relationship and be a business owner at the same time right now. But I feel like possibly within the next 6 months, give or take that 9 of him still working through stuff, I feel like y'all are gonna get closer. For sure. If he's the one you're gonna marry, let's see. Let's ask the love oracle from spirit. Because you have that free will choice.
Yeah.
So you might feel that right now, but it's not a certain, I'll marry this person. You may, crush land, makes you feel certain ways.
Exactly. Oh, God.
But they look like a way better energy than this dude.
He's got a lot of baggage. A lot of baggage.
Hello. Umbrella, shelter, and names. Energy alignment. Do you see his name? This guy's name? Yeah, do you ever see it? Out in the ordinary? You might start seeing it. And you got 3 6s here connected to his energy. So I don't know if there's a number 6 involved with him.
Somebody did my name in numbers. He said how many numbers I have my name, and then did something and with the alphabet. So GW ended up being aligned with my name, and that's his initials. I forgot how he did it, but he counted up my A's number 1, D's number 4, R
they're indicating that there's something with the names here. And how long ago did that happen?
This was in August when I was at Ayahuasca retreat. He did this for me.
Okay.
And he said the number equated to GW.
Yeah, this person is forceful. They're giving you the energy, horns, dominance, very sucking life out of. There you go, violet spiritual. Okay, so this person definitely, that's probably the GW you felt. Because the name energy won't come out.
Really?
Yeah, no. The fact that you have that experience to the GW, that this person's not at that level of unlock yet. Spiritually. But they'll get there, but not at the level you're on. And spirit will withhold those people from us until they're ready. But I definitely see movement with this person. I feel like a lot more within the next 6 months, and in correlation to, the shark survival. I feel like this person has a hard time handling their own business. I don't know if they have employees or not.
He needs help. He doesn't.
But he needs employees. I just heard that, employee.
And I asked him, I was like, it sounds like you need an intern. He's like, I do. He definitely needs.
Yeah, you letting go of this person, did this guy come when you let go of him?
Yes. But then I still was lingering with him, but just recently, last week,
he's gotta be
don't
clear.
Call me.
No, he's gotta be. Oh, last week. No wonder they giving me not this. No wonder.
This is on Saturday. I was like, don't call me anymore. Just leave me alone. And
that's why. Okay, so good. Asserting dominance with this person will create luck elsewhere. Yeah. So you give it a little time. It just happened last week. No wonder. I'm like, if there's two people in your energy, like, and that would give it. And that's why I say too, when people do want readings with me, I'm like, y'all gotta tell me the truth because I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, it was just recently. So it was just weird. When I went away to vacation, he sounded like this.
That's his last name? Shut up. Did y'all drink wine together?
No.
Okay, well, the wine's right there.
But it's coming because I've been wanting to drink wine with him and do shrooms. I was trying to get him to do shrooms for his 45th birthday, but he's like, he's not ready yet. But I was like, I want to do shrooms when I'm with you.
Yeah, there's something about it. This guy, no. Freedom, balloon, support. They're gonna support. Yeah, no. You're almost getting luckier in love, which you said we talked about, by not having this energy near you. So did he start getting a little bit more like giving within the last week or two?
No, it's been, I would say with the last month, maybe 3 weeks to a month.
Yeah, you're definitely feeling a lot more spiritually attracted to this person, but this person's gotta go. Because if this person's even in your energy, they don't have room to be in your energy. It doesn't even matter if you're keeping them at a level of like 2. They just don't have room to come in this person.
Because I felt he was my spiritual person, but after everything, I was like, no, I'm starting to feel like he is my spiritual person.
Well, I usually feel, rainbow renewal and cloud-shaped guardian angels. Isn't that what you said you saw something in the clouds?
Yeah.
Was that when you had the GW?
That was the weekend of the GW. That was before, and then when
this deck is crazy.
I see. Oh my goodness.
Yes, this person, if they come back around, don't let them. They might attempt to. I don't know how easy they let go of you last week, but with renewal to the tidal wave, this person will disturb your stuff. Rocket voyage. This person that live at a distance from you?
In Brooklyn.
Okay, that's why.
And he makes it seem like Jersey's so far. I'm like, yo, I will come out there.
But he makes it seem like Jersey's so far because he has so much on his plate.
Yeah,
that's why.
He does.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with you. I can tell. It actually looks like he feels like the guidance towards you that he's almost a little bit annoyed about because he can't do much with it.
Cause I do feel like he has feelings for me, but sometimes he acts funny, so I'm like, maybe it's in my head.
Yeah, I feel like there is just this really large wrench in the work thing. And just masculine, just do that. All right, so you know with this person. You've seen them clearly. Oh, you got the veil there. 333. You got a lot of alignment numbers with this person, which definitely means that this could have been the path person. So I feel like certain people you meet along your path to ricochet you to other people. So this person actually was very important to you and you did feel it at the right time. But this energy has things internally that are happening here. Feathers, protection, and hat and rolls, yeah. So once this person
He loves hats too. He always wears hats.
Wow.